So we're in Peine in Germany and tying flies at the fair, and I got this opportunity to shoot this little film to show the SSS series of synthetic materials, the Salar Synthetic Series. And I don't know if it's bragging, but me and my very good friend Håkan Norling, we set a little bit of new standard on salmon flies. And the thing is, we did this with material that were made by others, for others, and maybe for totally different things than we wanted to use it for. And especially Håkan was searching the world for new stuff, and me the same, and we were trying and finding good stuff and finding materials that suited our flies. But with SSS, it's the first time that we actually did it the opposite way. We went to the best producers in the world and asked them, could you do what we want? And they said, sure, we do whatever you want to have. So it was like, I was like in a little boy in a candy store, you know, where I got all these samples and mixing colors and doing things that were fantastic for my flight time. So I wanted to show you now in this little film how I use my materials and maybe a little bit of the thoughts behind some of the SSS materials. Why do they look the way they do? And the best way to do it maybe is just to tie a fly. And I decided to tie one of my favorites. It's the Mikkeli Blue. It's got a lot of synthetic materials inside of it, and hope you could follow and like it. Okay, I will try not to talk as much as I normally do when I tie a fly on an exhibition like this, because if I tell you everything, this will be a too long film. I will try to explain what I do with the SSS things and leave the other small details for another time. First of all, putting a little mirage on top of the fits tubing, mirage materials, let the colors go through it, and it's a nice little butt there. Okay, then it comes to the material that's new now, and that is the SSS Braids. This is there's 9 colors out now, and will be a total of 15. We're working with samples on the last hot colors, and the last samples just arrived is fantastic. So I think it will take just a few weeks, and the rest will be here. Okay, I will use 2 different colors. Look at this fantastic little packaging, where you just let go, no tangling, and no spools rolling around on your desk, which I think is fantastic. I'm messing up, you will see. It looked like I've been here a week when I've been tying just an hour or half an hour. So, okay, I will use 2. The silver and the Mikkeli Blue one. And the good thing with this braid now is that I can use one braid both for making all kinds of bodies and the same material for ribbing all kinds of flies, from the biggest fly to the smallest fly. I'll tie this in and then I show you. I start with will be my ribbing, always ribbing underneath. And then I put on my body material. So look at this now. With the older braid, you had to put the turns close to each other like this. It was not possible to overlap because it was too thick and it became ugly, okay? With this SSS braid, it's made soft, and the reason for that it should be possible to overlap, putting the layers over each other. First of all, no tying threads in between, and the other thing is it'll be very much more beautiful. Pulling it hard, making it grow the way that this part of the Mikkeli Blue body will be perfectly shaped. If I want it thicker, I can even go back with the braid and build it up like I do with the dubbing. Pull it really hard and create an even thicker, tapered tinsel body. Okay, so let's leave the ribbing for now and concentrate on the front part, which will be dubbing. Okay, why do we use dubbing? It's to make a body that is fat but also translucent. Most of the salmon dubbings on the market have fibers that are only 15 millimeters. Okay? And even shorter, but 15 millimeters, when you tie it in, dub it in and brush it out, if you tie it in on the middle, it's only going to be possible to brush it out 7 millimeters. That's nothing on a big fly. The SSS dubbing is a lot longer. The strands here are up to 16 millimeters, 6 centimeter long strands. You tie them in on the middle and you can brush them out 3 centimeters. And if you think it's too long, you can always cut it off with the scissors afterwards. Okay, the base in the SSS is a synthetic fiber that's almost 100% translucent when it's not dyed, which means this fiber will let through a lot of light. Okay, I think it's important that you get a fly that's translucent, that the light, the fish will see it from underneath, and the light will go through the fly, not only the construction but also through the fibers. Very nice, I think. Okay, I never use put this on now. I never use any wax, and it's not necessary. The longer the fiber, the easier it is to put it on. Putting the turns back and forth here, and you can see how easy it is. Don't take too much material, just put it on back and forth like this. Okay, this is the dubbing. That's the universal SSS dubbing. Okay, but you can't do everything with one dubbing. It's impossible. And I'm now going to show you a series of material that I think hopefully will be ready in August. This is a series of dubbing that's made without the translucent fiber. This is a flash dubbing. Okay, it's made of different kinds of flashaboo materials. You also have a silver and a black on this. Here we go, it's the little boy in the candy store again with all these goodies. This fiber, this flash dubbing, I made this to be able to brush it out and to get even more flashy appearance on a bigger fly. Okay, but some of these dubbings that's on the market, they tangle and they make flies that's not really good looking. I'll show you. Look at this. If you take Angel Hair quality material, this is Angel Hair, and I turn this. Look at this, fantastic colors. But look, it tangles. Angel Hair has they want to go together and they tangle, and you see this does not move. If you compare that, take the HD Angel Hair and look at this. wow, this does not tangle. You can see on the market today there's Angel Dub. That's made out of pure angel hair. You know what happened? That does not move. That doesn't give the right appearance because it tangles. When I did this new dubbing, I've been experimenting with different kinds of fibers, and we ended up with a mix of angel hair and the heavier short, but also a thinner one that will make a very nice mix. And I'll show you how I work with this. I'll take the angel hair, the Mikkeli Blue mix, and that's also one thing. When it comes to all SSS materials, like in the shop here, they got everything, all kinds of flashaboo you can ever think of, and all kinds of synthetic materials. You walk the wall and you look on maybe 400 different packs, and you compare SSS materials to the other. SSS looks more alive. Why is that? It's because the mix, I think, in all my color combinations of SSS consists of 5 different colors. A regular mix, if you have a mixed pack of flash in any kind, it's normally 1, 2 or 3. If you add a little more, the spectra is deeper and it looks a little bit better. So this now consists of 3 different kinds of synthetic flashaboo fibers in 5 different colors. A total of 15 different materials in one dubbing. Sounds crazy, but you need this to make this work and the way I want it to. Okay, I had someone say, the fibers are so long you can't dub this, you need a dubbing loop and all this. And look at this, it's the opposite. The longer the fibers, the easier to put on. Just spin it on. I prefer to have these longer fibers in this heavier dubbing at the front of the flies, okay? And on a small fly, I would use only regular SSS. Now you think I'm crazy when I'm putting on all this dubbing, but remember, a fly with a dubbed part needs to look seriously overdressed because you should brush it out. Very often you see people tie flies with a beautiful dubbed body and they never brush it. I mean, that's the whole purpose with the SSS and dubbing, is to brush it out, make it translucent, make it reflect light, and use the fibers in the dubbing. Okay, putting on a black hackle here. Just messing up this now. Where did I do my scissors? Here we go. I pull down my hackle through this dubbing mix, really tough. Okay. Time for ribbing. The same braid, SSS, this time the silver one. If I want a ribbing on a fly that is really heavy, I can just rib it with this very flat 3.5 millimeter flat ribbing. It'll be nice, but it needs to be really big fly to take such a big ribbing, such heavy ribbing. Okay, but look at this now. The reason for this is that I want the strength of this. This is super strong material. I'll take this and I spin it. And the SSS braid, I can spin it down so it will be, look at this, it can be thin enough to put on even a smallest fly. If I want to rib a size number 10 or 12 hooked fly, I can do it with this braid. I decide how thick I want the ribbing by how much I'm twisting this. Crossing over. Look at this now. Doing 5 nice turns here. Pulling it down in my dubbing mix and tying it in underneath. And twisting it back. It's so thin that you can double it without any problem. Okay, the way I tie with my flies is that I wind the hackle one way and I wind the ribbing crossing over, which means the whole construction is dependent on this being strong. First, when I started to use this braid, I used an American braid, and I actually was part in making this a thinner version of this, like the mini flat braid. But I got so fed up with some of my really good flies in my boxes, ended up with a broken ribbing. This doesn't hold. It looks very good, but it's absolutely useless, which means first little fish, it might even be a tiny little smolt with sharp teeth that just get hold of this and it breaks it, which means my hackle will unwind and the fly will be destroyed. Look at the SSS. It's a bit thicker, very easy to twist, and it's strong. You try to pull this, it's just impossible. The other braids are elastic, which means they break. This is not. This is a tough, hard, but thin and soft braid where you can overlap it. You can do everything you need with this. Any body, any ribbing, it's just fantastic. I'm very pleased, as you can hear, with this stuff. Okay, so back to the dubbing. Look at this now. I'll now brush this, and it needs to be overdressed so I can brush out the fibers to mix with my hackle like this. Look at this. Now I take out the 5 colors out of this dubbing mix. This is what I want with the dubbing. I want it to be possible to brush it out and to create this very translucent and shiny mix that'll mix with the hackles. And even when you do it without the hackles, look at this. I have a whole series of my samurais here. Let's see, I'll show you some at a time. These here are tied with the new SSS blend. You can see how it's possible to brush out this dubbing different colors. Here, look at this nasty rusty. We're talking about calling this glitz dubbing. It's I think the name will be glitz. It's not really set yet, but and the green one, fantastic. Mikkeli blue colored, and the diamond pearl samurai. Very good. So fantastic. Let's put on a wing here now. And when we do this, first thing is flashable. When I tie my flies, I I want a soft wing. I want the fish fly that will try will look as alive as possible. And which means when I work with flashy materials, first of all, it's got to be soft. Look at this. This is the HD Angel Hair quality SSS. Soft, okay? And then I want it to be the first ones in the bottom. I want them to be fairly wide to make a kind of heavy, flashy appearance. The fish will see it underneath and they will see the flash against the wing. That's how I want it. So, doing this now, I will start with the Mikkeli Blue mix of SSS HD, okay? Take the fibers like this and you can see now how soft these are. Some of the flashy materials are way too stiff. And the reason I made this is that I wanted a flashy material that was a little bit thinner than Flashaboo. On a big fly, Angel Hair was too weak and tangled too much. On the small fly, a regular Flashaboo material was too strong, too heavy. So this is something in between, and I now use it in the bottom of all my wings. Tilt it down and twist it back. I always double all synthetic materials, okay? Never do this. Never cut off so all fibers becomes the same length. Even those are soft and they are swimming nicely, you want this flash materials to be different in length, because the long flashy part will start to move apart and everything will start to come alive. If they climb together like this in the same length, maybe they won't be able to move apart in the water. It goes for all flashy materials. So cut and pull. Taper and cut. Wet it a little bit and you have a good SSS bunch for next fly. Flashaboo is like, I have a friend who's a chef and he said that Flashaboo is it's like the spices for when you make food. You have to be careful. If you put on too much of it, it's not going to be eatable, okay? So it's the same with the fly. If you put on too much flash in a fly, it's not going to be fishable. It's not going to be a good fishing fly. Putting on a black wing here now, and I do it the way I always do. Brush through the wing and make sure that the first bunch of hair is the heaviest one. Mikkeli should have a long wing, which means the first wing is a little bit longer than normal. Tie it in, move my fingers back, make sure it's down on the sides. As I said before, fish will see the fly from underneath. Very good. Cut it off. Angel Hair is Shim Hogan's material. Shim, fantastic guy. He did a lot for fly tying, a lot of good things. But before, I was working it like I had to take one of this strand and one of this and one of this to make the mix I want to. Now I don't have to do that. If I do the Mikkeli, I want to have the purple scale. Everything from a light blue over to the deepest purple, and I got it all in the same mix. One pack, so much easier. Double back. Make sure they are tied in wide. If I have a few strands that don't want to go my way, I just take them up way, like that. Okay. Add a little more to the wing here. Okay, putting on the over wing, making sure that this is now longer, making it thin, well tapered wing like that. tie it in. Cut off. Feel the wing, so it's heavy and it's really nicely tapered, and if there are a few of these too long, just angel hairs, just take them away. Then I made one certain mix that's called Nasty Rusty. The Nasty Rusty mix is a mix that's made for putting on together with peacock curls. It's a rusty color that is a little more shiny than the other rusty colors available before. Still 5 colors in this mix. Putting them on top, 1 or 2 turns, twist back and tie in. Taper, so I get different lengths, as I said before. And then these are made to mix with my peacock curls. I use most of the time dyed feathers, 3 to 5. It's a little tricky maybe to tie this in, just spread them like that before I tie them in. And this now mixes together with the SSS Nasty Rusty color. Put them in as long as the rest to blend, and it becomes a really nice appearance, I think. A Mikkeli Blue like it once was meant to be, with double jungle cocks. I'll start with one on my side, tie it in as long as the tubing. What about this then? This is only because the fisherman will think the fly is good looking. Yeah, some people think ridiculous. I just love them. I can't help it. And on the original Mikkeli Blue, first time I tied it, it was tight for the alta, and it had those double jungle cocks. Putting on 2 different ostrich hackles to make movement. And still we don't have a synthetic material that moves as good as this, but we're working on it. I'm not going to give you all secrets now, but there are a few more SSS products in the pipe. Just a little glue on here. The next SSS material that will be ready will be the flash. There's a crystal flash, 30 centimeter long crystal flash in the SSS colors. Hopefully August. And the samples looks fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I showed it to a few of my pike fishing friends, and they were just loving it. So I think it'll be a material that will be good for a lot of things. Okay, putting on ostrich hackle that I stripped one side, put it on 2 turns. Black one over that. When I strip feathers, I strip off one side like this, and when I have 2 different, I try to strip different sides. So one hackle go one way and the other goes the other way. Makes a stronger fly. tie it in, pull it hard. Tied in everything else up to this point now on the medium-sized fits tubing on the black one. This is now tied in, fastened on the X small magenta one. Okay, and just to make this a little fancy, I'll end it with a little magenta soft hackle. Tie it in the tip like this, like I do with all the hackles, and just wind it on. And normally 2-3 turns will be perfect. Double it by pulling back all fibers one side of the feather. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Physical law that says that the water hits this and make this turbulent stream, and in the turbulent stream these soft materials can swim. Okay, put it on little glue, move the glue close with the thread, hold it, 1, 2, 3, 6, ready, no knots. Take the ply, and sometimes I use a plier, just pull down the cone really tight down on the front of the hackles like this. Support with the scissors when you cut like this. I'm getting so old, so you never know. No, maybe I can do it without support, but it's so much better to just use support. Then I cut this exactly where I want it every time. And the magic light there, okay? And was it Newton that found out the apple wants to go that way, okay? And which means don't melt it like this, melt it like this, it opens like a flower, okay? Okay, we now tied one of my favorite flies, Mikkeli Blue. Really nice, and you can see how this is a fly that's made for fishing in the dark, which means it's got the colors that will stay longest when the light fades away. It's the purple colors that will stay, and it's the same with the SSS-Materials in the Mikkeli Blue, because this color mix I use, it's called Mikkeli Blue because of what it's used for. Take away a few of those. Look at this now, okay? I made what I think it's a fantastic fishing fly, and a lot because of the SSS-Materials. It's an extremely strong fly, where the braid and the ribbing being that strong makes sure that this no fish can tear this apart. Okay, the hackle might break, but if the hackle break, it won't unwind. What's gonna happen is that it will be just doing this a little bit, just rising a little bit between the turns of ribbing. Okay, look how the dubbing, being so very extremely translucent, will let the light through, because the fish will always see the fly against the light sky. Okay, very translucent. Nice drop form where I get the little sparkle inside the wing because of the thinner SSS fibers. Okay, I hope you liked it, and I hope the purpose with this was to show you why you should use SSS, or why I want to use SSS, why SSS series of materials were made. And these are made for our kind of flight time, our kind of flies. And it's not something that's a rest from something else overseas or somewhere else. This is especially made for us and to fit and suit our flight time and fishing. 15 colors, 15 color combinations. And today we have the braid, the dubbing, the angel hair quality of the SSS, the angel hair HD, and in August there will be 2 more members of the family, the SSS Glitz dubbing, the heavy dubbing that I showed you, and it'll be a flashaboo. And there's more to come, I promise you. The most exciting is still to come, but takes a little more time. Okay, thank you very much.